What's up everybody, Coach Mills here, coming at you with the brand new Valorant video, but this one's gonna be a little different because I really just messed up, if I'm being honest. About 3 days ago, I covered some drama about C9 TENZ, and while I necessarily didn't report on anything that wasn't factually untrue, due to my lack of thorough research, I completely missed the context of many different things, and I completely pushed a narrative that was just frankly inaccurate, and it actually affected a lot of people's opinions, and TENZ got a lot of blowback as a result, and it is my job to 100% not only own up to my mistake, but make this right. So we're gonna cover this from top to bottom and clarify all the misconceptions, but I think the best place to start was a message that I actually received on the video from TENZ, and it said this. I woke up, read this, and immediately I knew I messed up pretty bad. TENZ said this: "Would appreciate if you didn't spread misinformation or false insight. Our team environment was very loose and fun, similar to the way a group of 5 friends would play. All of our strats are designed to be run with either me on Jett or Reyna, and if I feel like opping more, I play Jett, and if I feel like rifling more, I play Reyna. Played very poorly personally trying to opt the first map, so I said to my team that I would be playing Reyna since I would try to rifle mostly. Don't take the stuff out of context and spread false information because the decision to remove SHINOBI was done without the players doing anything. If you want to mention my past in CSGO, I can tell you that people grow from their experiences and past mistakes. That incident happened around 2 years ago." Now, some of you might be confused about what Tyson's even talking about if you didn't see the prior video, so I'm going to play a clip of exactly what I said in regards to specifically Tyson and SHINOBI. Weaknesses in the C9 roster. Now, that being said, we got some insight into what is exactly happening to C9 behind the scenes. And there was a moment where SHINOBI planned out an entire strategy based on TENZ playing Jett, with rollouts and ability use, and TENZ didn't say anything. Last 5 seconds before the round started, he locked Reyna in a pro match. Now, not only does this just throw all the strategies that your in-game leader had out the window, but it shows just a blatant lack of respect TENZ has for SHINOBI. Now, honestly, this is just me researching a story slightly, putting together some of the information I found, and pushing forward my own take on the matter. As I do normally, most of this is just my opinion in almost all my videos, but this opinion was not only wrong, it just pushed a narrative that many people believed automatically, even though it wasn't really true, and that's 100% on me because I didn't actually do enough research in the matter, and I'm gonna explain. Now, was I the only person spreading this rumor? No, I was not, but I was one of the big ones that made a lot of people in the community believe it, and Tyson went to Twitter and wanted to clarify things about the situation. He said this: "To clarify the rumor spreading about me disrespecting SHINOBI FPS and wanting to cut him, the strats we had could be executed with either Reyna or Jett. I said initially I wasn't feeling it with Jett, and I said I'm going to go Reyna instead. That was taken out of context. I respect Josh so much as both a teammate and as a friend, and I had played on a CSGO team with him for the longest time. He would always be extremely selfless in every way he possibly could, dropping me rifles/ops in return for SMGs. I took no part in the roster chain." Now, you see, the problem is I took some information that I gathered about Tyson, and I took information from his past. I kind of just combined the two and made a random decision just based on how I felt. But the problem was I didn't actually gather the context around where these clips were even taken. Because in the video, I said that SHINOBI talked about how Tyson just locked an agent, and it was actually in a Plat Chat interview. And this was a long form video podcast on YouTube, and I'm going to play the clip that SHINOBI specifically talks about TENZ.
It's a very strange situation. Like, he also wanted to be able to opt, so we were thinking maybe even putting him on the Jett. So we ultimately went with Phoenix, and then there's like 5 seconds left in the agent select, and we're like, "All right, Tyson, you gonna play Jett?" And he's like, "I'm gonna play Reyna," or it's something like this, and he just like locked in, and we're just like, "All right, like, let's go." So.
Now, if you listen to only the actual words, like, I don't know, some dumbass coach, you would hear this. Parentheses, there is 5 seconds left in the agent select, and we're like, "Tyson, you're gonna play Jett?" And he's like, "I'm gonna play Reyna," or something like this, and he just locked it in. And a quote, specifically SHINOBI talking about Tyson. But the thing is, that statement or that quote is 100% taken out of context when you look at the context of not only just the surrounding text that I kind of included, but also just the interview as a whole. So basically, I gotta paint the picture for how the C9 team even operated, and it's honestly just very fast and loose. It's not anything dead set. There's not like, you 100% have to play this this character, you play this character, this is our setup strats for this map, and they set it up a week in advance, and that's what you play. No, that's not how they do things at all. The coaches seem to give players a lot of freedom to make mix-ups on the fly, and I've actually coached a lot of previous Overwatch teams where we had completely different styles depending on how strong the in-game leader was. If the in-game leader was someone that really wanted to take the reins, we would allow the players themselves to kind of decide what they wanted to do or adaptation on the fly. But if the team needed direction, we would set up dead set pre-made comps and basically leave that decision completely out of the hands of the players. It's just a fundamental difference in style, and the style of C9 is much more akin to the former that I talked about, where they get a lot of freedom in what they pick in any given round. Now, specifically, Mitch said he wasn't feeling Cypher, and because of that, the team wanted to experiment, and so he was having a back and forth between SHINOBI about what he could play. Tyson earlier already said that he was not feeling Jet because he just wasn't feeling opping at the moment, and Mitch and SHINOBI get into a big discussion about what characters everyone should play. They thought about putting Mitch on Jet because he could op on Jet, and Tyson said he was not feeling Jet anyways, but I guess they assumed that Tyson would still play it because they put Mitch on Phoenix, and then Tyson actually went to the Reyna when there was not that much time left. But you gotta understand that this is two players on the team having a discussion back and forth about changes to the composition right when the game's about to start. I mean, the clock is ticking down. They're just like, oh, I'm not feeling this. You wanna play this? You wanna play this? You wanna play this? They're just like throwing out ideas like crazy. And maybe if they had a lot of time to plan that out, maybe they would have put Mitch on the Jet, they would have put Tyson on the Reyna, and maybe things would have made more sense, but they just didn't have the time, and they were making a lot of these decisions on the fly. Now, this is really where I messed up big time, because I did not paint the picture like this at all. I mean, the way that I imagined this in my mind from just reading the actual quoted text and doing research and getting sent some small clips, and the way that I portrayed it on the channel was that everyone was quiet, no one was talking. SHINOBI made like an entire strategy where he's like, you do this, Tyson, you're gonna dash in and do this, and then out of nowhere, Tyson just ignores him and locks Reyna, which is not what happened at all. That's not even close to what happened, but this is 100% my fuck up because that's the way that I portrayed it. Basically, Mitch was not selfish at all. He was just not feeling the Cypher, and he wanted to talk with the team about what he could do if he just didn't feel like he was gonna perform on Cypher. TENZ had absolutely no ego at all, which is what I suggested that he did have. He was just not following the popcorn back and forth of SHINOBI and Myth going like rapid fire, and from his perspective, he already said that he was not feeling the Jet and opping and that he wanted to play Reyna, and that's exactly what he was gonna do. Now, this is really why context matters, because there was no ill intent behind anything, and I completely overstepped in my assumptions. Not to mention, I went back and watched most of the Plat Chat podcast, which, by the way, I should have done in the first place, and SHINOBI had nothing but amazing things to say about TENZ. Not only does SHINOBI say that TENZ has actually no ego, but sometimes he wishes that TENZ did have an ego because he almost never oversteps on other players, even if TENZ probably knows the right solution. And that's pretty much what TENZ seems like, someone who actually isn't toxic, doesn't have an ego or anything like that, and that is not the way that I portrayed the story. I should have never connected TENZ's past actions that happened 2 years ago and try to make a connection when there was none. And as someone who considers himself not only just a TENZ fan, that typically is just on this channel hyping TENZ up, honestly, but someone who needs to take ownerships of his mess ups, I apologize to TENZ, and I apologize to the Game Leap community who always watches here and trusts me at the very least not to say something that is just completely unfounded and untrue, which is really what I did. I reached out to TENZ personally on Twitter and apologized, and he even has footage of the event that maybe if he wants me to, I could show at a later date if these rumors keep circulating. But as usual, the takeaway for you is it turns out that TENZ is not only just like a fucking god at gaming, he's also just an incredibly nice guy, and Coach Mills is a fucking idiot. So, yep, let's move on to the next story. So if you haven't been following, the JBL Quantum Cup that was an invite-only tournament happened this weekend, and it's still happening over the course of this weekend, and Rising Star Ninja, you heard me right, Ninja, on a team called Time In, they actually went up against FaZe Clan and actually won against FaZe Clan. I can't even make this up. Now, Slasher posted multiple tweets about this. He said, Halo, H1Z1, Fortnite, no, Ninja the Valorant pro gamer is here. He also did a follow-up that said, nowadays kids see Ninja as a streamer, but he's absolutely one of the best multi-game competitive players ever. Ninja deserves the props. Jake Lucky made a stance on Twitter saying, Ninja's Valorant team Time In just took down FaZe Clan in a best of one. Say what you want about the guy, but he and his team have made some crazy developments in this game. Now, of course, I had to go to Reddit, and I saw a comment that I actually just died laughing at. Marge match fixing again, Kappa. Anyways, no, this is actually just hilarious, and honestly, honestly, the Timon team played pretty well. Now, it's hard to say whether or not it was Timon doing all that amazing and FaZe Clan just doing awful. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe FaZe Clan wasn't taking this tournament that seriously. I'm not so sure, but I really hope that they could recover mentally after losing to Ninja in a Valorant match. Now, for the last story, we gotta talk about the freaking candy cane glitch, apparently, where if you get the candy cane skin and you hit it along the wall, at some point, the candy cane will break and it will be like a stake so you can kill Vampire Santa. But seriously, apparently it's just like a random thing where it will happen after a certain amount of hits randomly. Sometimes you could do it for many games in a row, and sometimes you do it right off the bat and it happens. Don't really know exactly what causes it rather than RNG, and apparently it is a bug, but it kind of looks intentional. I have really no idea, but if you got the candy cane skin, all you gotta do is keep right-clicking the wall, and eventually maybe you'll get it. So here's something that you could try out that you might have not known. Now make sure you go check out the website and the links down below if you want to improve at Valorant. We have in-depth advanced guides, tips and tricks. I mean, we got tons of content. Do yourself a favor, go check it out in the links down below. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Definitely let me know or roast me in the comments down below. Anyways, that's all I got for you today. I'm Mills, and until next time.